Hi, this is going to be my review of Forbidden Planet from 1956. This is my second review. There's going to be lots of spoilers, so if you don't want to get it ruined, I wouldn't watch this. But if you're just wanting the rating, I would probably give it an A. My second review, the first one had a lot of copyright problems on the Immortals trying to put it on YouTube, so it's kind of frustrating because you don't really want to you want to have the visuals that go with it, and it's fair use, but we'll see what I can do with that. Also, this might be a little faster just to get them done. But this came out in 1956, and I saw it when I was a kid, but I hadn't watched it, since I was really little, and I don't remember too much from it. And I was really impressed with just how well it was done from every little aspect of it. It was really great. And the story is misleading at first. You think it's kind of just a generic, stuck in space kind of film, and then it just gets deeper and deeper, and there's more little interesting bits that come along. And if you use your imagination a little bit, it's like really amazing to think about, and the whole like philosophy comes through of you know what will be like when we start venturing out in space and colonizing different worlds. And it kind of starts out as like Star Trek. The ship is going to a colony that's been there for 20 years to check up on them and see what's going on. And they get there, and there's only one person left that they don't know about yet, and he tells them just to leave, and he's real mysterious. So they land to investigate, and then they're introduced to the famous Robby the robot who greets them when they first land, and this is his first introduction, and he's really famous in the sci-fi world, and he's a pretty cool looking robot, I have to say. His intro is kind of just, it isn't really shocking. It's just kind of like an everyday thing. So it was kind of interesting. I think maybe they could have done a better job of shocking the viewer a little bit, but maybe they had a reason for that. Does drive really fast on this little cart thing, which is pretty cool. And one part of the film I really like is the soundtrack. They have all this sort of electronic, weird sounds, and it's pretty amazing. It makes the whole film seem creepy, and then it comes in at the right moments, but you don't think about it, and it's just kind of there, and it makes everything seem more futuristic, even though some of the things aren't really that way. The mystery is really cool in the film about what happened to the previous colonists, and did the Doctor Morbius kill them, or was there a plague or aliens, or you don't really know what happens till the end, which is really really nice. And I like that it wasn't I thought that Morbius was going to be kind of the typical villain that going after the humans. I was waiting for him to just start attacking and send the robot, but it wasn't really that way, and you kind of get tricked into that, and it's kind of shocking when you realize it's not about that. It's cool seeing all the different science fiction things about it, and the whole underground world that they go through is amazing. There's some really cool special effects and all that, and when the big monster attacks, that's a really cool effect as well. And it's kind of like watching a Disney ride at parts where they kind of tour the underground layer that this race of beings that we don't know who um, are there, and it was pretty cool. There's some bad parts about the film, or there's some real campy moments in it. There's this cook character who I guess he's supposed to be the comic relief, and he's just not. I don't know. It's just very thrown in there at the last minute feeling, and it seems so out of place. He looks like a cook on a Navy ship or something, and it fits in the 50s era in our world, but for science fiction, it doesn't. It just seems way out of place. And he also comes up and he talks with the captain and the commander as if he's like has as much role as they do, and if I think it would be more military, you wouldn't be able to do that. So it's kind of funny. And then the other part is the robot. I don't think it was used enough. It was kind of there, but he didn't really do that much. He's kind of like a glorified maid, and he has some cool powers, but we never got to see him. And we always would thought, I always would think that he would fight the monster at the end, kind of like a Darth Vader moment or something, and he never does. So it's kind of disappointing that the robot didn't get to do more stuff. It'd be more interesting to see if the robot wasn't alive until like they like find him or something, and then they kind of activate him and stuff. But that'd be cool for a sequel maybe. And they have a love story in the film as well, kind of like all these movies tend to do. And I didn't like it very much. It just wasn't very interesting, and you know it was never gonna work out. And the girl wasn't very attractive, I thought, and it just seems kind of weird that as soon as she gets there, that they all the guys are like crazy about her, and it's very 50s feeling of, it's a woman and she's like a thing, and she can't think for herself, and her dad tells her what to do. And I don't know. I always thought it would be more interesting if she was a robot. I thought when I was watching it, like, oh, if she turned out to be a robot, a lot of these things would make more sense. And the other part was, if this is in the future, the women would, like in Star Trek, they would have a different role and they'd be more on level with men. And then it seemed like he got this thing so his brain gets bigger and thinks more. So I think that social change would be kind of drilled into her, since he's the only one that she ever gets to talk to. So they kind of messed up on that part, I thought. For my favorite scenes in the film, it would probably just be the atmosphere shots, and the big tour of the whole facility is really cool. That whole section of the film is really nice, and a really cool set design and lighting, and everything about it is really really interesting. And even the doors, how they open, different lights flickering around. I think that was really interesting. For this film, my least favorite scene was with the robot and the cook. There's kind of this side plot of the cook's kind of buddies with the robot for some reason. And at first I didn't think the cook would even be able to leave the ship. And he kind of plays a stereotypical role anyways. And then the cook, his whole deal is he's mad that he's landed on this faraway planet, light years away from Earth, and there's no broads and beer, and it just seems so out of place. You wouldn't take that guy with you. It's kind of like the new movies where they have the psychotic, ship pilot that goes along. You wouldn't take that kind of person with you on these trips. So it's just really silly. And then he convinces the robot to, he wants some liquor or something, and the robot makes all this liquor for him. And there's even a shot where the robot like drinks it and he kind of gulps it down. It's just, I don't know, that scene is kind of ridiculous. My favorite performance in the movie was of the Doctor Morbius. I thought he did a really great job being the villain. It's played by Walter Pidgeon. I think that's how you say his name. He has a really nice voice, and it's like a really good villain voice. And it's really cool how he doesn't turn out to be sort of the villain. And at the end of it, you're kind of left with, it's like kind of up to the viewer of, should you feel sorry for him, or should you be happy he died, or should you be angry? And it's kind of your perspective, or what I guess you want to believe in or see. Because on one hand, he's protecting Earth, and he doesn't want this to get out to the wrong people. On the other hand, he's kind of like an egomaniac, and you don't know really if he knew that he was doing the killing originally, or he's just so smart that he knows that he could trick him that way. And all throughout the film, you didn't know if he was going to turn. He was kind of on the edge always. And some parts he gets angry, and then he'll notice that he's doing that, and then change his tone. and that's really good acting. That's something that a lot of movies don't get right. That people are constantly thinking about what they're saying and how they're being received by other people. And then also there's parts where when he first meets him, he kind of acts weird, and then you think, like, if you look back at it, it's a that makes sense, but on screen it kind of looks like he's not acting that well. But if you think about, he's been alone on the planet for this whole time, and it's really neat, and he just has the right level of mystery to him. And even when he's showing all this stuff, it's like he's not giving away all his tricks. He still always has something else in his sleeve. And it kind of reminds me of the Doctor or Ming from Flash Gordon. He's kind of got that same kind of vibe going on. For the performance I didn't like the most, I would probably pick Anne Francis, who played Alteria, I think is how I said her name. She was just a tacked on love interest in the film, and they didn't flesh out her role, and she didn't seem as if she's grown up all alone with her father, who's obviously smarter than pretty much any human ever. And all these social things don't play into her how she acts. And I would think, they're colonizing a new planet. They'd have different ideas about, how society should work, and more kind of like what communism would be, or, more sharing and open ideas. But then the way they filmed it, you could tell it's from the 50s because the woman acts like she does like roles in the 50s do, even though it's supposed to be science fiction. So, and then but just her on screen, she didn't really have like capture. Wasn't that great of a persona, and it didn't really jump off the screen. And some of her clothes she was wearing weren't that spectacular. They would kept showing long shots showing her legs off, but she wasn't really in that great a shape. And some of the outfits didn't seem science fiction enough as well. So, and her love story and her whole being there, just she seems so miserable. She doesn't have anything that really excites her, but it doesn't show through. And then she kind of just instantly falls in love with the commander, or pretty much anybody, and it doesn't. There's no build up to that. There's no really a reason for that to happen, other than just trying to get get her in the film and promote it as have a little love story, so the wife will go with you to the drive-in, I guess. Here's some of the things I would change if I was directing. I think the woman, the daughter Alteria, I think it'd be awesome if she was a robot. It would come out that maybe she was the one who caused the original destruction of all the people, that he brought her along, or that she was dropped off by the aliens as a way to infiltrate and kill everybody. But then the doctor captured the robot and then reprogrammed her. It would also make sense too, since there's the Robby the robot, and it would be kind of like the next step past Robby is the one that looks like a human. And then it would also kind of explain her weird kind of love feelings towards everybody. I think that'd be really fun. Another one you could do is, as soon as they get on the planet and they see the woman, all the guys are just like instantly go after her and super horny and typical 50s, there's a woman, and all this masculinity thing. And I think it would be interesting if the woman, if she was kind of the villain and she had like a pheromone or something that would attract the men to her, then that big electric monster could eat them for energy or something. That'd be a cool idea too. And then the monster in the film, he's kind of imagination, I guess, kind of made of energy. I think there's a Superman cartoon where he fights a guy that's just made out of energy, and that's pretty cool. But you see in that cartoon, you see what the monster looks like all the time. And this one, you only really see what he looks like when he attacks the electric fence there, and then towards the end when he eventually kills his master, you don't really see what he looks like there, and there's kind of not really a death scene there, and I kind of wish that would be more filled in. And my idea would be that as the doctor realizes that he created the monster and it's his doing, then he starts to kind of lose his mind a little bit, and then he realizes that he made it, so then in real life he would see the monster kind of take form a little bit in different parts. So I think that's what I would do with the monster. And another part is it's neat because it's a good storytelling to tell you about the past and not really give all the details away. But I think the backstory to this film would be like a really good prequel. So I think I would like to film that, or maybe put that in there a little bit, because the story of the past civilization was really interesting the way they would explain it. And then you would kind of it's kind of good for the filmmakers, because then you start, if you're paying attention, you're listening to that and trying to visualize what all these weird contraptions do, rather than kind of looking at them and saying that looks like a piece of cardboard, or I can see the guy's legs move on the robot. So that's a pretty good, interesting bit to think about. Well, that's all for the review. I definitely would give it an A if I was rating him. And this is a really great movie, and there's lots to see. I watched it a couple times. I was kind of disappointed the DVD I got didn't have any special features on it. But I'm gonna start. My idea when I started doing this is to rank the movies based on each other. So I've seen this in the Immortals, so this is definitely gonna be on top of the Immortals, and we'll see how it goes. And if you guys have seen this movie, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't seen it and you like science fiction and I haven't ruined it completely, then go check it out.